everybody. This is Laurie Handlers, and you're listening to another episode of Sex and Happiness, a show about your sex and your happiness. In today's show, you will not be disappointed. I think you'll be at the edge of your seats. We'll see how we feel about that. My guest, let me tell you about her, and then I'm going to tell you what the subject is, and just sit there with bated breath, okay? Because it's going to be amazing for you. Her name is Michelle Alva, and she's a sex, love, and intimacy coach. And she has a background in physical therapy, hypnosis, NLP, which many of you are familiar with, time dynamics, Tantra, integrative yoga therapy, sound healing. What is this?
Psych-K.
Psych-K. So we'll find out what that is in a minute. Mindfulness-based meditation, belly dance, and shamanism. All right, so that's already like tongue twisters coming out. And then I just want to tell you what she created. She has created the Alva method, a mindset energy approach, and it's a process of self-discovery which integrates both modern science and ancient wisdom practices to educate and empower individuals on how to reset and calm their nervous system, heal from emotional pain in the body, and elevate one's energy to experience major healing with minor effort. That is, again, a huge mouthful, Michelle. Welcome to my show. Yeah, you're no joke.
I'm so grateful to have met you, to have, connected with you, and you're such an inspiration to me, you and your partner, and just everything that you've created. So thank you for having me. I'm so honored.
Thank you so much. It's it's my privilege and my honor to have you, and especially because we're going to talk about the, up until 10 years ago, the deniable fact by doctors that this thing even happens. So today our show is about female ejaculation, better known to most of you as squirting. And Michelle and I met through Mario, who many of you know and remember. He's been on my show a couple times, and Mario featured all of these panel discussions on squirting. And so recently when Michelle and I were talking, we said, let's do a show together on this. She has done a show on it before. She's an expert in it, and so we're going to talk about it. But before we go to that, I want to know what Psych-K is. And I want you to tell us a little bit more about the Alva method, too, because I feel like we should give you your props.
Well, Psych-K is a way of shifting your mindset. And the subconscious mind runs 95% of what we're doing. And we all are running a lot of times on that hamster wheel. We don't realize why we're doing things. And so what Psych-K does is it helps people to reframe, create new beliefs, and then release in their bodies the energy of the subconscious beliefs, because they're in our body. And so we're using brain balancing techniques. It's really muscle testing. And usually when a person has a session, they have 3 to 5 beliefs that are changed. So you can imagine when we change the charge of a belief and dissipate that belief and it no longer is there, we're opening up immediately that quantum field of potentiality to attract something different. And so I wanted to study everything I could about mindset. And Dr. Bruce Lipton talks a lot about Psych-K as what are the energy psychology techniques that are really effective. And so that's why I did 2 different trainings on Psych-K and became a Psych-K facilitator, and learned so much about the mind-body connection and the biology of belief and how we can actually influence our genes and the expression of our genetic.
Thank you.
A lot of people think that we are, I'm going to get breast cancer because my mother had it, but what he's discovered, Bruce Lipton's information, I'm sure everybody's heard of him who's on your show, how our thoughts is the environment really of this cell right here, all these trillions of cells. And so it's really exciting to discover how much we can actually shift and command our energy and become, just by envisioning and these different types of techniques, we can really own our power to create. And so my background as a physical therapist for 23 years, we didn't learn about all those things, energy psychology or healing or shamanism or tantra. And so I felt that because of the different things that happened to me in my life, I had sexual trauma when I was 14. And then when I was 28, 14 years later, I released all that tension in my cervical area. And there were a lot of emotions of shame and guilt. The memory of what happened to me when I was 14 came back in this cathartic release of emotions that I had, and energy, this tingling in my body that I feel that was my Kundalini awakening at age 28. But I didn't know all those words. I didn't know.
Sure.
I released shame and guilt and emotion, and I had a memory come up, and then I cried, and I just cried and held myself, and I released all that shame of not saying no at age 14. I didn't really want that to happen, but I just froze. And can you imagine how many of us are walking around in pain and chronic pain, going to physical therapy, pelvic floor, and then we're not getting any significant results with, a lot of people have chronic pain. And so chronic pain, the definition is when you have pain lingering for 3 months or more. So some people are in chronic pain for 20, 30, 40 years.
Because they froze.
Yeah, and so we're holding those emotions, as I know that's a big, massive part of your work, but
it is.
Healthcare, it is not the norm to even acknowledge that somebody could be holding shame or guilt or a memory. And so I felt inadequate as a physical therapist. I didn't feel I was really serving people or myself to the highest that I could be. And so onward with my path of yoga and meditation and energy healing and shamanism. And honestly, I think also a lot of unworthiness and objectifying myself and thinking I was only good for sex led me to have this insecurity that I have to get this training and this training and this training, and I have to do 4 different energy psychology based techniques, and then I'll be good enough to work on my clients and help them change their life. And so I really took in everything I learned, and I feel amazing today. I manifested. I'm 47. I feel amazing, and I live right in front of the ocean, and I literally envisioned this new place that I'm at and where I moved, and so I'm very confident with what I'm doing. It works.
Good, good. It's very powerful what you're talking about, and what Bruce Lipton is talking about is called epigenetics, and that's the influences of the outside on with the belief system. So we can change our belief system, but first we have to know we have the belief or limiting belief. Mostly we know what we believe in, but we don't know the stuff that's running in the subconscious. That's the thing. And then being able to change, like you changed your environment, you moved to the ocean, you moved close to the ocean, and that
this environment.
Yeah.
I envisioned a lot, and Dr. Joe Dispenza, I've done a lot of his trainings also, Dr. Joe.
Yeah.
Dispenza. So I spend an hour every day in the morning at least envisioning and just closing my eyes, and then when I go to sleep. And so I literally imagine what I wish to create. And so the more I do this, the more, I don't want to curse, but the more freaking powerful I feel, and it is a sacred power, this power of creation. So when Tantra came into my life, that was just the icing on the cake, because this part of my life, the lower half, I very much disconnected, and being raised Catholic and thinking I'm supposed to be a virgin when I'm married. That wasn't going to happen anymore for me. I lost that at age 14.
You lost the opportunity.
Yeah, so I thought I committed a massive sin. I actually thought God didn't love me at my 14-year-old maturity level. In that split second, that's what I was actually thinking. Oh my God,
sure.
What's gonna happen? And is God still gonna love me? So I was ashamed to go to church. I was just ashamed. I couldn't get communion. And so these little things that you don't think about, but it has such a big impact on your psyche. And then it's really amazing how we create our own heaviness and stories. And so it's taken me many years over this journey to find ways of effective healing.
Beautiful.
There's a lot of healing out there.
Well, I'm certainly glad that you did, because because you're a living proof of what can be overcome in people, no matter what they believe and no matter what happens to them.
Yeah.
They can change their thoughts, they can change their belief, and they can change their whole life. And you're talking about sex magic also, because when you add the tantric energy or the energies of creation into what it is you're envisioning, then it's power packed. I always call that the part of the secret that they didn't teach when they made the movie and the book, The Secret, they left out the secret.
There's so much taboo with sex, and even
Yeah.
as a physical therapist, when I was practicing, there was a psychiatrist that wanted me to work at his clinic. He said, Michelle, why don't you become a pelvic floor physical therapist and then you go work with my sexual trauma clients? Cool, you know? So then I was like, wow, you know, to massage women's vaginas, I'm not sure how is that going to fit there was this taboo of myself. Do I really want to do that? And so he said, well, you had sexual trauma and you overcome it. And I was already practicing Tantra back then, yoga. And so even to myself, to do what I'm doing today, the type of work that I'm doing today, I have had to overcome myself and all those judgments and taboos and what are people going to think about me. And then to also work with men as if they're a different planet. I'm proud of myself. You know, I'm really
Aren't they on Mars? Aren't men on Mars? Women are on Venus, according to John Gray. I'm only kidding.
And the other thing is how they talk about pain management in healthcare a lot. They don't even say pain release and pleasure increase. That doesn't exist. And so
they don't talk about pleasure.
What if a person with chronic pain, the doctor says, how many times a week are you orgasming? How many times a week are you squirting or having female ejaculatory releases? And so what if doctors could write a prescription for Tantra 3 times a week to learn how to whole body orgasm and expand their sexual energy, get that vagus nerve rocking, those endorphins, that orgasm, which creates oxytocin. And so it's neurophysiologically so intelligent to teach people how to surrender their orgasms, to release all that chronic back pain, and how the pelvis rocks forward and back when we make love. I thought to myself, this is such a great way to massage your back and do gentle.
Yes.
So this is physical therapy. And so this is the type of physical therapy I was hoping to bring into the world. And what I realized, though, is that Tantra and physical therapy, they can't really work together and still call it physical therapy. So I went towards the Tantra because of the results people have. So while someone is having a yoni massage, she can also have neurolinguistic programming and hypnosis, NLP. So the way that they're being spoken to, you can actually influence people to be more susceptible to orgasm.
Beautiful.
It's so amazing. So mindset, body, vibration, it's a mouthful. It's right.
Awesome. All right, let's go right to our subject of today. So up until 10 years ago or so, doctors were in denial that there was anything called a female ejaculation. And so you and I both know that's not true. And I knew that, you know, I knew that 20 years ago or more, but until I met Sherry Winston, who wrote a book about female arousal, but I met her before she wrote the book. She said that she was in nursing school and she had to make her own diagrams because they didn't have female genitalia done correctly. So she's the first person I know who rewrote the books on what the apparatus is that we have. There was denial that there was even such a thing called the G-spot. So rather than go there, let's go to what is it? How do you do it? Can you do it by yourself? I know you can, but I want to hear what you have to say. Can you do it by yourself, and why should people do it?
Yeah, well, there's these glands, the Bartholin glands, and right where our G-spot is, and basically the G-spot is the female prostate. It's a gland, and we form ejaculatory fluids, and they're different than urine. However, there is some consistency that are similar in the liquids. And so sometimes people say, well, I feel like I'm going to pee when I orgasm. And so I think that's a big reason of why women hesitate, because they're embarrassed. But yes, it swells up, and the more you feel pleasure, you don't necessarily have to be touched in your G-spot to have female ejaculation, and orgasm doesn't necessarily correlate with the ejaculation.
Right.
However, definitely there's a heightened sense of pleasure and arousal, and that's where Tantra, just learning how to harness your sexual energy and expand it, it's just a byproduct. I feel that female ejaculation is just a byproduct of the release of energy. It's a way of the body expressing its joy. It's like, I'm fireworks. So yes, and the liquid leaves out of the same place that your urine leaves, also your urethra. However, it's a separate place where you're being created, the liquids. And I call them the pleasure liquids. And so women say, well, I don't want to pee on my husband. Or so I tell women, before you make love, go to the bathroom.
Right.
Make sure to drink lots of water, maybe like an hour before that, so that even if you do pee, it's going to be more watered down. But technically, when you go to the bathroom and pee, it's probably going to be 2 hours till the next you need to go pee. So you don't need to worry about it. And you can also get a plastic cover over your mattress. I highly recommend people get a plastic cover over the mattress under your fitted sheet. It's only like $20 or $30 online. That is going to be the greatest thing. So you never have to say, I don't want to ruin my mattress. Okay. So just throw that one off the window and then that duvet cover, and just have fun. And honestly, like, I would love to share the first time it ever happened for me. I didn't masturbate till I was 37 years old.
Really?
Yeah, I thought it was sinful, and I thought it was not something I should do. And it was only with my husband. I thought these were old beliefs. And so I had my first, my boyfriend after my marriage. It literally just happened. And I felt like the same thing when my water broke. And I didn't have any control over it. It just happened. And I was like, what was that? And he said something like, oh my God, that's so cute. You squirted on me, or something like that. He said, and after that, I was curious, what is that? What was that? So I didn't even know really what squirting was, female ejaculation, till only 3 years ago, since the Tantra training and really learning more about Tantra. And so then I had another partner that, he was very dexterous because of his career with his hands, and he knew the anatomy, the physical anatomy very well. And he knew my body parts. And yes, definitely I feel knowing my G-spot. So if a woman never knows that gland that swells up, then she will not be as consciously aware in her body about it, the somatic experience of her G-spot swelling. And so when I teach women about ejaculation and getting to know her abilities of what could happen, because it's not Tantra for us to say, you have to squirt, ladies, when you pleasure yourself, you will squirt. So that's not what Tantra is about.
Right. And plus, we shouldn't put an expectation on people like that.
Yeah, this is not, but women are curious. And so I teach classes where I teach them how to find their G-spot, and I coach them on it exactly. So sexual body anatomy class. And then, I want to just share that with everyone. If you, if I put my finger inside and then we just bring it over here, where the pad of my finger is, if I go 2 joints in, how here's my finger one time, here's the second. So you go to this distance, like a centimeter and inch and a half, 2 centimeters. There's these corrugated areas, and that's the G-spot. That's where that gland is that swells up. And so for the ladies, I highly recommend doing a technique called a windshield wiper, where you're stroking right to left, and you get to know that upper roof of your vagina, where it's smooth, where it's corrugated, feels like the pit of a peach, and get to know that area. And then highly recommend taking deep breaths and just getting to know, being curious. And as you start to pleasure yourself, doing whatever else, breathing, expanding, it will feel as if it's swollen, just like your labia, the extra.
Or like you have to pee. It's going to feel like that.
Yeah, it's going to pleasure pee. So the more a woman actually spends time, I feel, this is what I can only speak for myself here, and gets to know those parts, and when I touch that, and then if I breathe like that, and if I move my pelvis, or if I just lay there and breathe and contract and relax my pelvic floor. So the more you're sensitive and awake to your G-spot, to your vagina walls, when you contract and relax it, you actually start to turn yourself on just by squeezing those muscles. And then eventually the body just wants to express itself and move its energy. And of course, the journey to that requires a lot of emotional processing of whatever traumas, dramas, pains in the body. Because if you're holding on to chronic tension in your neck, your jaw, your shoulders, your back, which is a lot of people, when that energy starts
it's most people.
Yeah, that's why most people are like orgasm, because your body is not actually able to release and undulate and move and free itself. And so a person can't even allow that next step to happen. So imagine for orgasm to happen, it's really a surrender. And so I do this to my clients. I see how my muscle right now, I'm just totally limp.
Yeah.
It's not just muscle though. So if I shake, you see how I can actually let my arm go and I could just jiggle?
Yeah.
So if you could imagine when you're orgasming, let's just say the G-spot's down here and you're either breathing and you're just in touch with it, or you could even be in touch with it, massaging it, there will be this upward movement. And so if the body's open and the body's free and the body allows it, you feel that orgasmic bliss, but then also the liquids, it's just a reflex. It's just this reflexive release. It just happens. It's not something you make happen. It's really a surrendered, just like the 4th of July fireworks, literally, that's the same exact, there's pressure buildup and then, and to me, I feel it's in a massive release of love. And then after you look at yourself in the mirror and your skin's glowing, there's no wrinkles, and you're flush.
Well, I just have to tell you, you just redefined arm flab. For every woman that I know, you just redefined arm flab. We call those pasta arms. So, so that was great.
I correlate everything with sex.
My experience was really different than that. I made myself do it with a wand. I think you've seen my wand before.
Techniques.
Yeah, I squatted down on the floor. I squatted and I put my wand in, and I put my vibrator up on my belly, sort of like by my pubic bone. And I just did this with my wand, and then there was a puddle on the floor. And I went, oh, look, I could do it. So I had a different experience of it.
There's a technique called come hither, which I'm sure you already know this. So this is something else. And it's just a little, for some people, they're like, how do you do that to yourself? So yes, it's a release out. It's like, come here. And then there's another technique where you could do 2 fingers at once, which is intense. But the thing is, a lot of people, they don't even feel their vagina. So here, when I do this to myself, so you put 2 fingers inside and you just massaging the same G-spot one after the other. So it's a double whammy, yummy, yummy. I love to do this in the bathtub, and it's just very relaxing. But if I am just laying down, but the thing is with me, I'm not trying to make myself, then I just start to get really
your energy goes throughout your whole body. You're lighting up.
I'm being guided to squirt. It's like, I know it's going to happen because I'm very sensitive. I'm very sensitive, meaning I don't need much stimulation of anything. And honestly, I squirted once too without even being touched. There was a lot of anticipation. My ex-lover was gone for a month, and he came back, and I literally was so excited. I was so excited to see him. And the minute he touched me, forget it. And I don't even think he touched me down there. I think he just like took me and kissed me. And he's very, I feel like he brought out in me, because it's not about the other person. No,
it's not.
When you are attracted to someone, you have this sexual chemistry. It's always your own chemistry that is seeing and mirroring the same exact beautiful resonance of that person. So this is really important for women to realize that your vagina works. You are orgasmic. I'm here to let all women know you do have a G-spot, okay? Because some women are like, I don't know if I could do that. I said, can you imagine someone going around saying, I don't know if all men could ejaculate? Come on. So who's the...
No, they all can. It's a question of will they? Like, will they allow themselves that kind of pleasure? Will they stimulate themselves to feel all that? Because some people don't, they're numb there. So they need a re-education, which is what you're saying. So
don't
Will you let yourself?
don't begin with just doing this to yourself, ladies. A lot of women have been dulled out in their vagina because they've been way too much pounded, and the vagina is like, honey, I really don't need all that stimulation.
Exactly.
Energetic is the feminine, and so I feel because I'm very energetically feminine connected, the wind blows in between my legs, and I'm like, ha, you know. So
That's why you moved to the ocean.
yeah,
So you
I
could
love
get
that.
ocean breezes.
But I want to say, if you're chronically stressed out and your hormones are out of whack, orgasm is not going to be the priority for your body. So the first place to begin, I feel, is taking nice hot salt baths, lighting a candle, doing meditation, yoga, breathing, belly dance, going in the ocean. You know, the water energy is so beautiful for orgasm, for ejaculation. This is a deeper release. You know, it's a different nervous system than the clitoris. So a lot of women have clitoral orgasms, clitoral pleasure. And so get to know your vaginal walls, massage your cervix, go deeper, because really this is a deeper experience. And don't just focus on your G-spot. Massage around your cervix, the entrance of where you begin your,
Beautiful.
yeah, so explore yourself, and then you can start to tickle and do things like that and breathe. And so there's a whole process to it that I share with my clients. And
Yeah.
a lot of it is first learning how to surrender, learning how to let go and how to allow. And I think of it, can you imagine a person riding on a bucking bronco? You know how the guy that, what do you call the guy that rides I
The
forgot.
cowboy.
The cowboy. If he was stiff and like this, the bucking bronco would just, you know,
Pull
catapult
them
him
off.
up.
Right.
So what does the cowboy do? He flows with the bucking bronco. He becomes one with it, and he just allows it to, you know, really ride him, right? And so that's similar. The bucking bronco would be the metaphor, is your powerful creative sexual energy ignited inside you, and then you are just surrendering to it and allowing it. And you don't know where it's going to take you, but let me tell you, it's going to take you wherever your beautiful heart and soul and spirit and creation wants to massage you through. And so there's always some beautiful, it's unexpected, you know. I never know when it's going to happen, but I can also associate to people, you know, that there's certain
So
amazing.
great. So great. So how do people get in touch with you if they want to?
I'm going to Michelle Alva TV on YouTube and check out my
Okay.
videos there, and all my information's there. So Michelle Alva TV on YouTube, and of course my name, michellealva.com. And you can schedule 15-minute clarity calls. I highly encourage people that if there's any spark of hope for squirting, I can definitely guide you. And it's just, what's important is your willingness. Your willingness to let go of judging yourself, judging your body. There's so many reasons why people can't orgasm, and 90% of it, I would say, is mental. How do you believe religiously? You know, what is your belief about it? Do you think it's a sin? I mean, some people don't even realize they're still holding on to judgment about it. And then
Right.
do you even think you're worthy of pleasure? Do you think it's even your own? Because some people say, oh, but I only do that with my husband. Or, you know, I don't want to cheat on my husband with myself. You believe it or not, some women feel bad. They're like, I'm married. Why would I pleasure myself? Why would I get to know my
How would somebody else know how to pleasure you if you don't know how to pleasure yourself? Like, I can't, that thinking is like totally beyond me.
And the other
The
one is,
thing you said, though, if there was a ray of hope, which is so funny because there is a ray of hope, it's just a question of permission. Do you have the permission field to give yourself permission to have that experience?
I only started touching myself when I was 37. I'm 47. It's only been 10 years of my life. I left my sexuality when I was 14. I really feel I cut myself off. I dissociated. I did not be, so what are the benefits of orgasm, right? Oxytocin, it's the love hormone. It's the healing hormone. When you squirt, that's your vagus nerve. That's the deepest pleasure system. And then when that nerves get stimulated, you're also going to have a better night's sleep. better digestion. Your immune system is going to be healthier. You're going to boost all those hormones that are the healthy ones that you want for restoration, regeneration, healing. So those are the benefits. It's a natural anti-aging.
Beautiful. I couldn't listen. You have covered it. It's great. Like your background in physical therapy and all this stuff. It's like you know the stuff, and it's true. I tell people all the time. You want oxytocin, you want serotonin, you want dopamine, you want endorphins, and you can get most of them from running. But I prefer to have sex.
Yeah, and it's a deeper. It helps you with your intuition. I feel I'm very intuitive. So your subconscious is your body, and so your whole body is very intuitive. And so the more you orgasm and you squeeze in there and you really get to know yourself, I feel like those are kisses from your vagina lippies, you know, the internal, and it's a way, it's the love hormones. So if you want to love yourself, you know how people say, you know, I really want to love myself. I want to learn how to love myself. Well, then orgasm yourself. Orgasm yourself to love.
That's great. That's great.
Orgasm.
All right, you heard it right here, everybody. I'm just letting you know, you want to love yourself, orgasm yourself. According to Michelle Alva, that's it. And I agree.
The thing is, remember, Tantra means not just orgasm yourself with your genitals. Tantra is all about orgasm your whole self. And so Tantra taught me this whole concept of teaching people how to connect and open my heart. So I learned how to connect my heart with my sex and my throat and my solar and my throat.
And everything.
When I say sex, I mean your whole body is sexual, the whole body. And your whole body's spiritual. Your whole body is your heart too. Because before you get your heart on, gentlemen, you have to get your heart on for that circulation to flow. So.
Awesome. So good. Really good, Michelle. I'm going to have to bring you back for some other topics. This has been wonderful.
Great. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. So everybody, please tune in again next time when I'll have another amazing guest. Again, if you want to get in touch with Michelle, you go to Michelle Alva, A-L-V-A. It's Michelle with two L's, Alva, ALVA.TV. to find her YouTubes, or .com to find any information about her. And you too can have this experience. And she's beautiful. She has so much going on here. If this resonates for you, call her. Get in touch with her. Michelle, thank you.
Online classes and courses, you know, the yoni healing and sexual empowerment. So people can just get the downloads to the audios. You could be anywhere in the world and you can just take that program and do what you want with it. Or
beautiful. Thank you for being.
Tantra for couples videos. So there's a lot of resources. Just look through my website. You can get all that there.
Okay,
thank
great.
Laurie. This was so
thank you so much for being my guest today, and thank you, everybody. This is Laurie Handler saying namaste for sex and happiness.